I hope you guys are having a beautiful, blessed day today. My name is MickeyxMars, you can call me MickeyxMars, and today we are finally doing the Apex Legends Season 12 tier list. And finally, we got crypto buff and we got all the other changes to that. So it's just time to make the tier list. Now, this tier list is just going from, C to S, because there's really not that many D or F tier legends because everybody's pretty much usable. So we're just going to go from C to S. And then also, this is just my opinion on which one is the most valuable to the team, strongest in ranked and pubs and solo queuing and all that stuff. So, I appreciate if you respect my opinion instead of just, going all of whack when I disrespect your legend. But yeah, before we start, just make sure you like the video. Let's try to get 30 likes. I would really appreciate it. It will boost the video's algorithm. Also, join my Discord down in the description down below so you can talk to the homies, the brodies, and be elite if you do that, because everybody be funny as hell in that Discord server. So I appreciate you joining. We got 60 members. And then also subscribe. Let's try to get 6.2 subs. And yeah, let's just get started. Alright, so now, like I said, how we're gonna start this video is that we're gonna go from C to S, because there's really not that many D and F legends. Everybody's pretty much usable and pretty good in teams and valuable to the team. So for the first legend that we're gonna be saying on a C tier is Mirage. Now, the reason why Mirage is on here is because he's pretty much a basic balanced character. He was one of the first Apex Legends to be in there, and just pretty much basic and not that many things to his tactical and ultimate. So pretty much the reason why he's C tier is because if you can use Mirage like a beast, elite, he's just really valuable to yourself. Now, another reason why he's also C tier is because he's valuable to you, but he's really not that valuable to your team unless your team goes down a lot and you can just res him with a gold backpack, for example. But yeah, his tactical and his ultimate is only sorely to you. It's really not valuable to the team, and he's really not that good in ranked unless you're just in platinum, gold, silver, and bronze lobbies. But once you go into the high diamond lobbies or masters and you're not a good Mirage main, that's why he's just a C tier legend, not valuable to the team, and his tactical and ultimate and his passive is just basic. And now on to the next legend in a C tier, and that is Revenant. And now the reason why Revenant is on here is because they just nerfed him to the ground. But the reason why he's not D tier is because he's still really good for you and your team. Now, the only down things, the worst thing is about him is that when you use his ultimate, the whole map, the whole world will see that he's using this totem, and it's pretty much not really good for you or your team, because that team that you're pushing with the totem is basically going to be gone by the time you get there. So yeah, that's the reason why he's C tier. But his tactical, and the way his passive that he can climb on walls and use his tactical to make enemies not use their abilities, is pretty good and viable for your team and yourself. So that's why he's just a C tier legend. But he's just really difficult to use if you're a new player, and it's still really difficult for new players to use because his abilities are just not that good at all, but pretty much good if you're just having fun or whatever. But that's why he's a C tier legend. Now on to the last person in a C tier list, and that is Rampart. Now, the reason why Rampart is in a C tier list is because she was just a bad legend from the get-go, but she's not too bad unless you use her correctly. But ever since they put her out, her abilities and her ultimate just didn't really match the playstyle in Apex Legends, and it's just really difficult to use for new players. But she's really viable if you're an experienced Apex player in the game. But that's why she's a C tier. Her ultimate, Sheila, is just the best ultimate if you can use it at the right time at the right place, and her tactical would be all right, but since that it gets shut down quick as soon as someone shoots at it, it's just really bad for you and your squad, and it's not really good for her. If they can just buff her shields to where it makes it full HP from the start, then she would be a valid B tier legend. But since that happens, it just sucks. And then also, her passive is really not that useful in this season, because her passive is only good for LMGs, because you can only use it with LMGs. You can reload faster and have more bullets. But since there's really not that since there's really not that many LMGs in the game, except for just the Rampage, and the Rampage is kind of mid unless you have the Thermite with you, and the Spitfire is back in the care package, Rampart is just really not that useful. But I remember when the Spitfire was on the ground, Rampart was actually really godified to use when the Spitfire was on the ground. So maybe once they buff her shields, her tactical, and put the Spitfire back on the ground, she will be elite. Now moving on to the B tier legends that is really valid in your teams, but it's not really overpowered for it to be A or S tier. And get with me, you guys. It's a lot of B tier legends in this tier list. Now for the first person that we're going to be talking about, and that is Crypto. Crypto finally went from a D tier legend to a B tier with his buff. Now that you can use his Crypto drone without being into the drone and uses his EMP as fast, just super fast, he's just really viable now for you and your team. He's really easy to use for new players and really easy to use for experienced players, and if you go up against an experienced Crypto, it's just really hell to go up against. So that's why he's finally a B tier legend. But since his buff really wasn't that much, he wasn't really worth being an A or S tier legend. So that's why he's just stuck there as a B tier legend, because he's valuable for squads, he's valuable in duos and ranked and pubs, etc. And the way that you can just grab banners too as well, that's always been a goatified passive right there, of grabbing people's banners with the drone. So that's why he just got to be up there with the B tier legends, because he's just valid. Now I was gonna put Lifeline as a C tier legend, but Lifeline is just too goatified to be a C tier, but she's not really that goatified to be an A and S tier legend, if you get what I mean. Now she is just really annoying to go up against, especially in arenas, pubs, ranked, whatever mode you're playing, because if you don't knock her down first and you just knock her teammates, all she would do is just res, and she's just really annoying if she has a gold bag as well, because it will be so difficult to push that team, because she will be shooting at you as she's resing her teammate without doing nothing at all, and then it's just really difficult. That's why she's just a B tier legend. But since her ultimate is really not that much to it, like I feel like they can put really more into her care package, she's just a B tier legend. But if they put like weapons in her ultimate, or maybe more better attachments, something in her ultimate, she will be an A solid legend. Or maybe bring back her shield that she had when she rezzed her teammates, she will be back to an A tier legend. I just really wish that they brought back her shield. Maybe put HP to her shield instead of just being, basically a Gibby shield when she's gonna res, or whenever she's rezzing anybody. Now the next legend on this B tier list, it is Caustic. Now ever since Caustic got nerfed, he's just not been an A tier legend at all. He used to be good in ranked, he used to be in all the meta lineups in ranked, but Caustic is just not that good anymore. He's still good to be a B tier, but he's not that good anymore. And now that his gas really doesn't do that much damage to you, and you can kind of see what's going on in the gas, he's just a B tier legend. But Caustic is still annoying to go up against when he uses his ultimate, and if you still get trapped in his gas tanks and all of that. So that's why he's a B tier legend, because he is pretty annoying to go up against, and he's still really good to use if you know how to use him to the full extent. But he's not an A tier legend like he used to be in the last season. Now on to the next person onto this B tier list, and that is Seer. Now the reason why Seer is on there is because, like I said, he is not that bad, but he's not that good as well. And the reason why is because ever since they nerfed him on the second week of his release, he's just not really been that useful anymore, and people went back to Bloodhound. Now that his tactical sorta does become useful for you and your team to see how much health they have, but it's really not that long of a scan, and that's why you would rather use Bloodhound or Crypto to have a better, longer scan to see where the enemies are at. Now the only good thing that I like about Seer is his ultimate, and that's why he is a B tier legend, because that ultimate is really useful for you and your team to just see where the enemies are at, and that big radius of the ultimate, you can just see anything and everyone. So that's why I just pretty much think that he's a B tier legend, but not a C, D, or a SA, because of that ultimate right there. And then also his passive, where you can hear the enemy's heartbeats and see if they're high health or low health just by how fast his heartbeat is. That's a pretty goatified passive right there, and I hope that he would get a little buff in the next season, but that's why I would keep him around a B tier legend. Now the next person on this B tier list, and that is Fuse. Now the reason why Fuse is on here is because finally the amount of buffs they gave this man, he's the B tier legend. Not an A or S tier, but he's a B tier legend, and that's because the amount of whatever it's called, his tactical, that you can shoot at his tactical, is just bizarre. The amount of how fast it can just recharge, and you can just keep spamming that on people to get out of cover, or spamming it on down enemies so they can just get the kill. You can finish the kill, or either using his ultimate and you can burn people and also see enemies inside the circle, and you can get infinite wall hacks if you use it correctly. And his passive, where you can carry as many grenades as you can and just comboing them up with Horizon and use her ultimate. He's just a really valid B tier legend. And if you use Fuse in ranked, wow, that's like the most easy KP to have when you're using Fuse, because you get assists with his with his ultimate, and his tactical is just really good, since everybody does not like to push for some reason, and not really, everybody's acting scary, so you can just use his ultimate for free damage or make the enemy panic. And that's why I think he's a valid B tier legend. You can't put him nowhere else. Now the next person on this list, and that is Bangalore. Now the baddie Bangalore is a B tier legend, and you already know why, because her kit has not been touched for seasons, but she is not that bad of a legend. But the reason why she's a B tier legend is because her tactical, which is her smoke, is really not that useful in a way if you're playing ranked sometimes, because of the amount of scan legends people play. And you already know that each team that you go up against is going to be an automatic bloodhound, especially in ranked. So when you use her smoke to run away or push a team, it's just really hard to use it because the amount of scans legends that people use, Crypto, Seer, and Bloodhound, especially Bloodhound, that is really bad. So that's why she's just a basic B tier legend, but her ultimate is really good, like a get out of jail free card, or use it to push a team, run away, whatever. Her ultimate is really valid. But what make her an A tier legend is that if they make her smoke screens where she can't be scanned, so you can't scan nothing in the smoke, and then also making her ultimate, like, as soon as it hits the ground, it just explodes, because that little delay that it gets when it hits the ground, people will already be long gone by the time it activates, and that's why she's just a B tier. But she's just a solid legend because her passive is really good as well. Just her passive giving you speed hacks, she's just really valid if you just use her correctly. That's why my man Shiv is still the best player to use her, because if you use her correctly, she is just really OP. But that's why she's a B tier, because really low experienced players can't use her right, but experienced players be scared of that experienced Bangalore. Now the last person on a B tier list, finally, this was taking forever. So many people was on this B tier list because I really don't think that they're A or S tier. And the last person is Pathfinder. Now the reason why Pathfinder is on here, because if you're a console player, the tactical is kind of hard to use to make, satisfying plays unless you're on PC. Then on PC, I would definitely put him on the A tier. But the main reason why he's a B tier legend is because he doesn't have a passive. What kind of person has a passive to scan drones and just make the the zip line come in quicker, his ultimate come in quicker? No, he needs a better passive, like for example, use meds while he's on a zip line or something. Now the way that they buffed his tactical, where depending on how far you go, that's how long it will recharge, that's valid, and his ultimate is also valid to get from point A to point B. But that passive right there really messes him up, and I really wish that they can change that. And if they do and make it something useful, he would be an A, maybe S tier legend. And that's what I got on my opinion on Pathfinder. Now finally, we are on to the A tier list, and the first legend that I gotta say for the A tier list is Loba. And you already know why Loba is on here. Now people think that she's just a B tier legend, but if you use her correctly, she is an A tier legend. And I'm really scared of people that actually use Loba correctly, because her ultimate, where you can get as much ammo as you want, you can just keep pushing fights because you don't have to loot for that long. You just put down her ultimate, get your ammo, get your shields, get your gun, whatever, and then you can get right back into a fight. Especially using her ultimate for the care package in the final ring, for example in ranked or pubs, and you can get a Kraber or whatever red weapon is in there. But what I like to do, I always like to put my ultimate near to the care package instead of running out there like a dumbass getting shot by enemies, and just take the red weapon for myself. And I always get a Kraber end game because I always do that. You just got to make sure you rotate correctly. And then also her tactical, where you can just go from wherever with her bracelet and teleport and get away from enemies or push enemies, it's just really good. And she's a really good movement legend character just because of her tactical. And her passive, where you can just see purple red loot anywhere, is also goatified too, because you can go to that loot first before your teammates get to it or enemies go to it first. And that's why I think she's just an A tier legend. But if you can't use her right, then she will be a C tier. But I'm putting her A because I'm a Loba main. I'm just goatified with her. I'm elite when I use Loba, and that's why she's an A tier. Prove me wrong in the comments down below, but Loba is just an A tier legend just because she's just goatified. Now the next person into the A tier list is Octane, because now that he got nerfed and you can't really use Octane with the Rev Totem, he's an A tier legend, but he's not an S tier legend anymore, because the way that his ultimate, you can't really get that far with the ultimate anymore. That's why he's just an A tier legend. But the stimming and all of that, he's really still good, and how you can regenerate health at any time by using a stem or getting shot at by enemies, that's still really goatified. And he's still really good to rotate in ranked and pubs, or just rotate anywhere. And that's why I think he's a valid A tier legend. There's really not that much that they can do to him, but since of that buff to his ultimate and to his stem, he's just an A tier, not an S tier no more. Now the next person onto the A tier list, it is Wraith. Now the reason why Wraith is on here is because she is the best movement character I ever seen so far. Top 3 on there. Her get out of jail free card with her tactical. That's also an A tier tactical ability. And then also her portal is low-key alright, but since her portal and her tactical is like, you know, she's an A tier, not an S tier. But since her tactical is actually still good if you can use it right, she's just an A tier legend, especially in ranked and especially soloing and duos or trios or whatever you're trying to do. She's just really valid right there. She's also satisfying to use and make good plays with her, and that's why I like her as an A tier legend. But since her passive is really weak, they really got to update it, because I've seen so many people just dying by her passive because her passive was not really useful. And also her tactical having that, you know, 1.5-second delay before it actually activates, that actually sells you and your team out every time you're trying to get away. And then her ultimate, which is basically not really getting that far, you can't use her portal that far. That's why she's just an A tier. But that's why I'm saying if you can use her abilities correctly, she's just an A tier legend, not a B, but an A tier, solid A. Now the next person on this A tier list, it is Mad Maggie. Now Mad Maggie is a new legend in season 12, and my god, only the first 2 days of me playing her and I already got a 20 bomb with 4,800 damage with her. It is just crazy. She is just insane. Her passive is insane by moving with shotguns. That's broken. I've seen so many Bangalore mains switching to her because they'd be like, why would I play Bangalore when I could get a speed boost by using shotguns with Mad Maggie? And then also her tactical, that is the best thing ever for against door campers or people hiding behind cover and walls. I love just putting that there and getting them out of there, because it's just annoying chasing a team and then just they just start hiding. And then also her ultimate, wow, top tier. But that's the reason her ultimate is like, you know, it's but since it gives you speed boost, that's why it's still valid, but it doesn't make her S tier. Now if her ultimate was a little bit better, say it does like instead of 10 damage on impact on enemies, it does 30 or 40, then yeah, she's an S tier character. But since it's like kind of like low, that's why I put her A tier, but she's not really OP. Now for the final and last person on this A tier list, and that is Watson. Now the reason why Watson is so high right now is because ever since of her buff in the last season, she's just really hard to go up against, and she's really cool to use when you're playing with her. Now her fences is just really OP, especially now that you can move fast while using her fences, and that her fences will go up a little bit faster. It's just crazy, and you can make so many crazy plays. Her ultimate is also good to fight to use, because you know how you're playing ranked and you're in a final circle, people like to put the Gibraltar ultimate, Bangalore ultimate, throw frag grenades. It's just chaotic everywhere, chaos. But as soon as you play her ultimate, you're just scot-free, and that's why I love her. That's why she's a top A tier legend, because now that they finally gave her the love that she deserved after 10 seasons of her not getting a buff that good, she's just a A tier legend, and I just love her heirloom as well. That's why I'm putting her at A tier. But the fact is, the reason why she's A tier is because of her buffs, her tactical, her fences, and her ultimate, top tier. And now onto the S tier legends. Now there's really nothing to explain about why they are S tier, so that's why I'm gonna go quickly on this, because we've been on here for 20 minutes. We gotta hurry up and wrap this up, so let's just hurry up and start with the elite legends. And now for the first person on this list, and that is Horizon. Horizon been a demon ever since she's been out. Everybody been scared of her in season 7, 8, and 9, but as soon as she got her, you know, little nerf in season 10, she wasn't really that scary. But now that she got her buff in season 11, she's still an S tier legend to this day. You can pop a battery in the sky, you can move around fast. Her passive, where you can just land from a high place and keep moving without getting that little pause like every other legend, is just an S tier passive. And her ultimate can get a little bit of work, but if you use it right, it's just another S tier ultimate. And that's why I think she's an S tier. She's really good when you're playing solos, and she's really good in ranked. Best person ever, best legend out there. And if you're not maining her, what are you doing, my guy? Next person is Ashe, and that is another new legend from last season. And Ashe is really good in ranked. I think she's really good in ranked and also playing solos, but she's really more valid in ranked because of her ultimate going from point A to point B, and you can also lead people into a trap using that ultimate, and also getting your, you know, down teammates out of a place and getting out of trouble just really quick. She's just basically a Wraith 2.0, and that's why I got her as a high S tier legend, just because of that. Now her tactical is also another good thing to use, especially when pushing a fight, getting people stuck, and they will kind of panic because they got stuck by your tactical. That's another good thing to use. And then also, this is the best thing ever in both modes, ranked and pubs, and that is her passive, where you could just mark enemies from whatever the enemies got murked from, and that you can see where the enemy team is at from across the map. also you can look at your map and see where enemies are dying from, and this is a good thing in pubs and rank, because if you're playing pubs and you want to get high kills and damage, you can see where they got killed at, go push them in third party. And then in ranked, you can see where people got killed at, and you can third party them, or just avoid that area at all costs and just rotate to a different spot. That's why I think she's just an S tier legend, and she's just really most valid and ranked lobbies, pred lobbies, master lobbies, and diamond lobbies. She's just really codified, and this is another legend that you should main if you're trying to get some RP or high damage and kill games. Now on to the next person into this A tier list, and that is Valkyrie. Valkyrie's been OP from the start. She has not got any nerfs or buffs. The only nerf that she got basically were just amount of jet fuel that she uses, but other than that, she's just been an S tier legend. The fact that you can see where people are at when you're in the sky, the fact that she has tactical jets, missiles for a tactical, and you can stun and damage the enemy, and also getting that ultimate where you can go up to the sky and avoid the area that you was at, getting third party, or just to rotate quicker and see where enemies are at so you can avoid them or push them. That's why I think she's just an S tier legend, because her passive, her tactical, and her ultimate are just S tier things, and I'm glad that they put this type of character out, because this was something that we needed. And if you're not maining her, this should be a person that you should main if you're having trouble at the game. Now on to the next person in the A tier list, and that is Gibby. And now the reason why Gibby's on here, and I'm so surprised why people don't use him, but I'm actually kind of glad that people don't use him that much, because then we will see Gibby everywhere, is because his whole kit is OP. How many times do we got to tell you guys this? People that doesn't play Gibby just because they don't like the way that he walks or something, you just gotta main him. I mean, to me, that's why I don't main him, because he's just too goddamn big. But for a person that wants to get an easy game or whatever, please main Gibby, because Gibby, he has the passive where if you shoot at him, he doesn't move slow, and he takes more bullets, and he doesn't take that much damage. And also with his tactical, his dome is just also good for having a 1v1 fight with a mastiff or a PK, or rezzing your teammates quick as fast as you can, or also just using it to just avoid damage from grenades or ultimates just like that. And that's why his tactical is OP. And then his ultimate, just like I said, if Bangler's ultimate was to be able to activate as soon as they hit the ground, then that's why she would be OP. But since Gibby can go activate as soon as it hits the ground, that's why his ultimate is also an S tier ultimate, and his whole package is just OP. So if you're not maining him, what are you doing? This man is elite. Now the last person on this list, and that is Bloodhound. Now you know why Bloodhound is on this tier list. It's because they are just valuable for your team, no matter if you're playing arenas, ranked, or pubs. His tactical, having just wall hacks every time, is so good for you and your team. I don't know why they haven't nerfed it yet. I guess the only nerf that they did with the scans is that if you use his OP ultimate, his ultimate doesn't really last for that long. It lasts for 25, not 30 seconds anymore. And the fact that you in your ultimate, you can move as fast as you can for 25 seconds and have infinite wall hacks for 25 seconds, that's just so OP. And his passive, they passive, sorry guys if you complain about this or get mad at me for saying I'm sorry, it's just a force of habit, but Bloodhound's passive is just too OP. You can just see where the tracks are at, to see where the people are going to be at, or where there was attacking at. Their passive is just really codified, and that's why I think Bloodhound is an S tier legend. Woo! That was such a long video, 25 minutes of recording, but I'm pretty sure when I edit this down, it's going to be about 22, 23. But what do you guys think about this tier list? Don't get butthurt if I, messed up your legend by talking smack about them, but that's why it's a C to S tier list, because really not that many people is D or F. So what do you guys think about this? Tell me down in the comments down below, and also stay cool, stay gold. I'm glad you clicked on this video. Appreciate the support. Make sure you like it, boost the algorithm, and I'm out. Stay elite.
You win. Perfect.